right, welcome back, everybody. Looks like sunny day here at Sentinel Pines. We're going to go into the hive, do a general check-in. A couple of things. Number one, big shout out to Kevin, subscriber from Texas, sent me a new microphone. So hopefully you guys can hear me a lot better. Um, and Yeah, it's been a while since we were in the hive with the camera. I've actually been in the hive twice since the last post. Just some things came up. One of the days my phone wouldn't record. So yeah, but so we'll go into the hive and we'll just kind of do a general check-in. So here we go. So since last time, one thing I did was I moved some frames that weren't getting worked from the outside to the inside of the hive, to the middle, like the middle positions. The reason for this being that if I did that, it encourages them to work. They don't like the hive they're not having full comb on it on every frame, right? So when they see frames that don't have comb on them, they want to put comb on them. So move them to the middle so they're more likely to put comb on them, just so that they're more likely to use them. So yeah, we did that in pretty much every box to encourage them to use it more or to build it out more. So we'll see how that went. Some other things, my brother Noah and I visited our Bee Society president's hives as part of our annual field trip out there. So that was cool. We got to see some really well established hives. Got a little bit of an explanation of how he does his things. And one of the best things I learned was just how to go into my hive a little bit more efficiently. And look at this. Wow. So it's been about a week since I've been in here. But first frame, I mean, this could be a frame that I moved from the outside to or from the inside to the outside, but first frame's getting worked. We got cap brood on here. We've got some nectar, tons of cap brood on this side. So yeah, one thing I learned from my mentor last time is take this first frame out, and now you can slide these frames around a lot easier, which I guess like it's not that, are we still recording? Yeah, it's not that I didn't know that, but like duh, why wasn't I doing that? So I think the last post was the post that I got stung, so some updates on the stings. They itch like crazy. They don't hurt all that much when they're happening. You know, they kind of get hot and feel kind of pokey, kind of like a bad mosquito bite. But yeah, then the days after, they itch, brah. They itch a ton, and they're like bruisey. So like you want to scratch the heck out of them, but also at the same time, it's sore to scratch them. So you're like super lightly scratching them, and then you're scratching them raw because they hurt so or they itch so much. And I'm not one of those people who can easily like not scratch at something. So yeah. So here we've got some fresh brood. I'm just kind of poking my eyes out for Regina. When my brother came and we looked at those, we went to the society meeting, the association meeting. He came over here and we checked on my hives, and he found Regina like immediately. It was awesome. So yeah. So I don't think I'm going to show you as many frames as I usually do, only because now I have 30 frames in here, and I'm not going to hold every single one up to the camera. So I'm just going to check on them, and if I see anything interesting, I'll show it to you specifically. But yeah, so it was a lot of fun. Man, this one is packed full of brood. was a lot of fun to see such cool uh, hives getting done up. We learned to identify like drone cells versus queen cells. Um, so yeah, but I thought I'd tell you guys a little bit about like when a hive is looking to make a new queen, kind of what you'll notice and what will happen and stuff. And a hive might decide to make a new queen for a lot of reasons. One, like their queen might literally just die. Um, and then they need to make a new queen. And they'll know that within hours of her dying or within hours of her like not being in the hive because they constantly are smelling for her pheromone, right? And so when they don't smell her pheromone, they want to see like this was a one that I wasn't that was on the outside that I now put towards the middle, and you can see they're already building out comb on it. Um, but they won't smell her pheromone, so they communicate like almost entirely through their sense of smell. They do that dance, but that dance has more to do with foraging than it does any other communication. So, anyways, they'll know she's not in the hive because they won't be able to smell her. And so what they'll do is they'll go around to all the brood cells, and no one really knows how they do this, but they choose some of the currently incubating eggs and they say, okay, these guys are going to be queens. And I should say these girls are going to be turned into queens. And so what they'll do is all newborns and all like developing bees get fed what's called royal jelly, which is basically like primo um, nectar and stuff like that, right? But when they get big enough, the hive stops feeding them royal jelly, except if they're going to become a queen. If they're going to become a queen, they continue to get royal jelly. And something about that jelly triggers the cell, the egg, to turn into a queen. And so, like, a queen has a physically different body than the other workers, right? She's got a bigger abdomen, she's got ovaries, all that stuff. Okay, so so they create some new queens. Okay, all those queens will essentially be born at about the same time. There might be a few hours of difference, but essentially they're all going to be born at the same time. And when they get out of the cell, they will immediately kill each other. Like they will hunt out any other queen pheromone and just kill it or try to, right? And until there is one queen remaining, and then that one queen becomes the new queen, right? So it's within hours of a queen not being in the hive that the hive starts to manufacture new queens. Because without the queen, it ain't gonna work, right? It ain't gonna work. So these outer ones that I'm pulling up here, these were ones that were once inner ones, right? So they're more well established. But this way, we just have good comb on literally every frame in the hive, and we don't have any wasted space. But man, she is a laying machine. All of these are pretty much, if there's good comb on them, there's eggs in it. If there's not eggs in it, there's, on these, there's nectar. As I go below, though, I'm sure we'll see more pollen. So yeah, a hive will only ever have one queen unless they're doing this, and they'll have multiple, but then that multiple will only be there. I'm going to move this one to the inside because this one has like nothing on it. Those multiples will kill each other off until there is only one. Remember that show Highlander? That's the life of a queen bee. There can only be one. And essentially, I mean, to the other bees, she kind of lives forever because most bees will only live, and my bee president would be, he would be so pissed because I don't know the numbers, but they only live like 28 days. Noah would know. Noah was really good at remembering those numbers the day of the meeting, but they live like 28 days, right? So they die off relatively quickly, but a queen can live for like 5 years. Now, you as a beekeeper want to replace her probably every 2 years because the older she gets, the more children she has, the more like the later generations get more aggressive. I don't really know why. I'm sure if I read a book, I could find out. But they get more aggressive. And I think they're more likely to swarm on you. So you typically, they call it pinching. You pinch her off. It's essentially that. You literally pinch her out of the hive and you replace her. You can replace her by putting another queen in, just like I did at the start of all of this, or you can have them create a new one. As soon as you take her out, a few hours later, they're going to start working on a new one. So you can do it that way. Reasons they might get rid of her. They might get rid of her because she's getting too old, so she's not laying as well. Maybe they don't like her production. She's not making enough, quickly enough. Lots of reasons why. Just watching a cleaning bee take out a body. Lots of reasons why they might get rid of a queen or decide to create a new one. Okay, so what happens then? So we get this new queen. New queen is in the hive. And I may have said this before, but I learned some new things. So, new queen's in the hive. Okay, the drones that are in the hive, those are her brothers essentially. If she was born of the hive, right? She won't be impregnated by them, which I didn't know. I thought the drones that were in the hive, they were going to breed with the queen. That was their job. Not so. Not so. It's crazy. So what happens? How does she get bred? Okay. She goes on what's called the mating flight. And she leaves the hive for a few days and she goes to find drones from other hives. They go on this like bachelor flight where they just meet up with other drones. And she flies by and she's like, I'll take you, please. I'll take you, please. And she sleeps with, well, she mates with one or more. I don't know exact numbers, but she'll mate with one or more uh, drones. Okay, get out of the way, girls. So she'll mate with one or more drones, and she'll come back, and that's the only time she'll ever leave the hive unless the hive swarms. She'll go, she'll breed, she'll come back, and she'll start laying. And then she'll lay for the rest of her life. Just laying eggs, laying eggs, laying eggs. So this one's getting worked and it's getting laden, so I'm not going to do anything with this one. I'm going to leave it, but it's kind of light. And so, yeah, she'll do that for the rest of her life. She'll never leave the hive again. In fact, she's not really good at flying because it's not something that she does very often. One of the things that I have to be a little bit more mindful of is just uh, pulling the frame out. You know, if she's on it and she falls off onto the ground, like she might have a hard time getting back in, especially because my hives are so far off the ground. So I really shouldn't be lifting them too far away from the frame or from the hive body. You know, another reason why I'm not going to show you every single frame. But nothing really too crazy going on here. I will show you some frames because I realize like I haven't shown you any. And you don't just watch the video to hear me talk. So far everything is as I was expecting. There's lots of propolis and it's been warm today, so the propolis is quite gooey. We got lots of rain down here apparently. Libby and I have been away on a little vacation to the cottage. But maybe I'll show you this one just because like this one, it's pretty clear that they've worked this one a few times, and that's pretty cool to see how like nice. I cannot see my camera, so I don't know what you guys can see. How nice those combs look. And those were fresh this year. Like they just started working them. And they look so nice and tidy and put together. Just watching my step. And like yeah, like they get to work and they don't stop. That poor girl did try to sting me. So um but yeah, the queen is a very interesting part of the hive. And I was mistaken that her drones do not breed with her. Wow, there's a ton of bees on this one. There's so many. They do not breed with her, which I didn't know. I thought for sure they did, but they don't. They just literally hang out in the hive doing nothing. They do absolutely nothing. They don't protect the hive. They don't get food for the hive. They don't clean cells. They don't repair cells. They literally do nothing. And then they fly away and they breed and then they die. They die right after they breed with the queen. So, why they keep them in the hive, I don't know. Probably for the good of the community, right? Like they know, like we got to have drones so that other hives can thrive, and we need their drones, so let's all just make some drones, right? But they're pretty useless. And so eventually, what the hive will do every year is they'll see, like, okay, the season's getting kind of, they're building up comb on this one. The season's getting kind of late, and these dudes are, and we only got so much food stored up, and these dudes are hanging out in here and they're not doing anything. So eventually in the fall, what they do, they give them the boot. See ya. Get out of here. And they kick them out. And those dudes, they go and they just die, right? They just go out into the nature. They probably try to get a breed on or something. But once it gets too cold, they're gone. So life as a drone is pretty good for a while. Uh, you don't have to do anything. Your sole purpose is to eventually breed, but guess what? When you do that, you die. And then eventually, one day, you're told to get the fuck out, and then you die. So, I think I'd rather be a worker. At least you have a purpose, right? At least you have upward mobility, you know? So, yeah, I have not spotted her though. I mean, I'm not really spending a lot of time looking for her, but you kind of shouldn't. You should just kind of eyeball it. And if you don't see her, move on. But I mean, I'm seeing them practicing making queen cells. It's especially on these frames that were on the outside that I've now since moved in. They tend to practice on those outer edge ones. So I see practices for queen cells, but none of them are actually cones turned into queen cells. So that makes me think like she's in here somewhere. Because if she wasn't, they'd be making more. So yeah, it's a little bit about drones and queens, which is two types of bees that I haven't really talked a lot about. Um, but I should probably research a little bit more about like what the heck is the drone even doing? I mean, I joke that he's not doing anything, and really, truthfully, he's not. But like, why would they feel the need to make them? Someone said at the recent meeting, like, they like having them around. Okay, why? What? Why? Like, we just like having these freeloaders around. What are they? Eye candy? This is another one that you can see they've worked it a couple of times in a couple of different ways. It's looking like to me like it's mostly pollen and nectar, but it kind of gets that. This side's a lot of brood, it looks like, but it kind of gets that like brown look to it when it's been worked a couple of times, you know? And the cells look really defined because they've made them, they've maintained them, they've done, cleanup crews on them, fix up crews on them, and they get better at building comb as they get more practice, right? So, like the first draw outs aren't going to be as good as the later ones. But yeah, we saw a lot of seasoned beekeepers. There were a lot of absolute beginners though at that meeting, which I was really surprised by, just because you wouldn't think like, oh, it's my first meeting, I'm going to go to the field trip meeting, and I'm actually going to go out to some guy's house that I've never seen before, never met before, way out in the boonies. But sure enough, there were lots of people there who had never done it before, were brand new to the whole thing. And yeah, like I said, one of the best things I learned was just how to be a little bit better about going into the hive, like setting out a frame and just like some of those little techniques. I specifically wanted to watch for that because I always feel like such a klutz when I come in. I've gotten better, but so yeah. The other thing I'm thinking too is like eventually I don't have to go into everything, right? Like, I can just kind of check on the general scene. Nothing's looking too crazy. I don't have to look at every single frame, right? But today I am doing that. One, because I'm filming this, and two, because I haven't been in about a week. And I haven't been in since moving some of those frames around. So I do kind of want to just see like what's going on. So most have now started to get some serious work in. So that's good. That means we're achieving our goal there. But yeah, we had a good time at that meeting. It's fun to see so many people in bee suits walking around looking at bees. He let us just kind of go into whatever hives we wanted to, except for a few that have his prized queens in them. So that was fun to kind of be, you know, left to your own devices. But my mentor kind of watched over the hive that Noah and I went into. And we identified some queen cells getting developed in there, which was fun and interesting. This one is getting packed full of some pollen. We got some brood going on this one. Again, I have not spotted her. I don't think we're going to see her down here just because she's got plenty of fresh cells up at the top that she could be laying in. But you never do know. So yeah, we'll give her a look see, and we'll keep eyeballing for her. But so like this one's getting drawn out right now. This was kind of a blank one before. Just noticed an interesting thing happening there. They do this thing when they're building new comb where they like grab onto each other and they hang. And the video I was watching that was talking about that, so that they don't really know why they do that, but one reason might be that they're trying to see exactly where gravity is pulling down because they want to build their frames as vertical as possible. Now, in this hive body, they're going to build vertically down because that's what the frame is doing already, but they don't know that, right? Look at that, just covered in bees. So, anyways, yeah, I think I saw a few of them just doing that, grabbing onto each other and hanging. This one's got a bunch of pollen packed in at the top. So I'll let you get a closer look at that. You look in those cells that are kind of amber colored, that's pollen getting packed in. So again, one of my frames from this year that they've worked a couple times. So I have one more body, right? Like one more body full of frames. And I think I'm going to have to add it before too long. And if I do, like I didn't really look at that top box for that purpose today. I probably should have, but it's kind of hard to tell because like I've moved so many frames around now. But like eventually I am going to have to put in another frame or another body. When I do, am I going to put in a queen excluder and try to make it a honey box? Maybe, but the last day to like do that is August 15th and it's July what 19th today, 20th. 20th. So like that'd be less than a month for them to be working it, and I don't think it's worth it, to be honest. This one is like nothing but pollen and brood cells or drone cells. There's some drone cells there too. Gloves are getting kind of sticky. Eventually I may have to like wash them or something. So this was a really light one that I put towards the middle. Still pretty light. That was about a week ago. I guess I thought I'd see more comb drawn out of it by now. But they're busy. They got lots of other things they can be doing right now. This next frame is the one that got me stung. Absolutely covered in bees. A lot of pollen packed in on this one. A lot of pollen packed in on this one. This side also looks like there's a lot of pollen in it. I see a lot of bees walking around with pollens on them, getting ready to deposit. So just a few more quick frames to peek at, and then we're going to start putting everything back and call it a day. That one also tried to sting me. Don't try to sting me, girls. Okay? It's not good for you. So, yeah, getting stung was not fun, but it was especially not fun in the aftermath. Next time, I mean, obviously, I'm not wearing shorts, right? Like, that's a big reason. This one's a lot of fresh comb on here that's getting packed with pollen, mostly getting packed with pollen. There's a couple of cells capped, I would assume with brood, but it's mostly getting packed with pollen. Um, for next time, though, one thing, I think I told you guys this while I was getting stung, it's really critical that you scrape out the stinger. So don't try to pull it out because the stinger has little barbs on it, and those barbs are not going to make it easy to pull it out. In fact, trying to pull it out is only going to make the barbs dig in deeper. So the trick is to take your hive tool or like a credit card and just scrape your top layer of skin and try to just scrape it out. Okay, so you do that, and the next thing you want to do, apparently, which I don't think I did last time, is you want to apply smoke to it. Reason being that the smoke, the stinger is going to release a pheromone. Again, they communicate mostly through smell. The sting site's going to produce a pheromone that tells everyone else, hey, sting this mother right here. And so they'll all try to sting you right there. And that's what happened to me, right? I got like 3 stings in one spot. So they'll try to sting you in the same spot. But if you smoke that, it kills the pheromone. Making it harder for them to know like where the sting site was. So yeah, you did just get stung, but hopefully you don't get 6 or 7 more in that same spot. And there are a lot of drones in here. I'm seeing lots of drones. I'd say it's less than 10% drones, but still a decent amount of drones. I thought I saw her there. So again, I don't know why. And there's like more drone cells to come. So like I don't know why. It's like Nora Jones said. I don't know why you didn't call or you didn't come. Come on, girls, get out of the way. Get out of the way. Last one. And I have not seen her. Have not seen her. Again, not worried about it. There's a lot of bees. See, here they are. They're doing that thing. They're all hanging on each other here. So, me not seeing her is understandable. And they're not showing any signs that she's not in here. I think what I'm going to do, though, is I'm going to push this one interiorly here. Yep, get out of the way. And then I'm going to put that one right here. Generally speaking, you should really kind of just like put them back where they were. But again, we're trying to encourage more comb development. Here, let's do this. I know I just spilt a couple of you. But I'm going to push this a little more evenly here. Cool. All right. Line everything back up and be done for the day. That looks pretty even. We got a ton of rain, so their water is actually kind of too full. The pine needles that I put in it are not easy for them to land on. So we'll adjust that. So yeah, hopefully you could hear me better today with this microphone. Seemed like when I tested it out a couple of weeks ago, like it was going to work. So I assume that it was easy enough to hear me. So let me know in the comments. Make sure you... Oh, that's heavy. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. You like this video. And hit me up in the comments if there's things you want me to tell you about or talk about. Again, this is really mostly just a video journal for me. But as long as I'm doing it, I'd love to teach you things that you'd want to know about, I suppose. So next time we go in, we'll check for how much of this they're actually working, which looking at it, it's quite a bit. Like, I think next time we may be adding our fourth and final box. I don't know what to do if I run out of boxes. I mean, I already bought more boxes this year. But like eventually, I mean, I guess they call it making a split, but like there has to be a time of the year where there's not enough time for a new queen to develop. In fact, I think we learned it. I think it's past. I think it's July. I think it's today. So like if I was going to make a split, today was the day to do it. And I didn't. So, girls, you should get off of me. Because I'm about to walk away from this. So yeah, anyways, that's that. We're going to leave it like this for now. Next week when we come in, we'll check for, we'll check to see if we should add a new box. But otherwise, thanks for watching.